The human stood quietly at the edge of the massive space station kitchen. The room was larger than a city hall and filled with strange alien shapes. Steam floated in the air from machines that cooked food no human had ever seen. Dozens of alien workers stopped and stared at the small human figure. He looked weak compared to them, short, thin, and silent. Many aliens wondered why the station command had even accepted a human. This station was known across the galaxy as a place of pressure and power. Only the strongest species survived working here for long. Humans usually quit or failed within days. Some were sent home broken, others never spoke again. The aliens remembered those humans clearly. So seeing another human step into the kitchen felt like a joke to them. An alien supervisor with 4 glowing eyes approached the human. Its voice echoed loudly through the metal walls. It asked the human to state his skill and purpose. The human did not rush to answer. He adjusted his simple uniform and looked around calmly. Then he shrugged slightly and spoke in a soft voice. He said he did not talk much and that he could cook. For a moment there was silence. Then the kitchen exploded with alien laughter. Some slapped their tails on the floor. Others released sharp sounds meant to show insult. Cooking was seen as a low task on this station. The supervisor sneered and asked if the human thought food mattered here. It explained that this station ran on power, fear, and discipline. The human listened without changing his expression. He did not argue or defend himself. He only said that cooking always mattered. That answer only caused more laughter. Behind the mockery, something strange began to happen. The human started setting up his small cooking space. He moved with steady hands and careful steps. His actions were slow but confident. He checked tools, heat levels, and ingredients. Aliens watching him slowly stopped laughing. There was something uncomfortable about the human's calm. He did not act afraid like the others before him. He did not try to impress anyone. He simply worked as if the room belonged to him. A few older aliens exchanged uncertain looks. They had seen warriors act this calm before battle. The supervisor ordered the human to prepare a dish. Not for workers, but for a high-ranking alien officer. This officer was known for cruelty and sharp judgment. If displeased, it could end careers with a single command. The order was meant as a test and a warning. Failure would mean immediate removal from the station. The human nodded and accepted the challenge. He selected simple ingredients from storage units. Nothing looked rare or impressive. Aliens whispered that the human had already failed. They expected strange smells or obvious mistakes. Instead, a warm and unfamiliar scent filled the kitchen. The smell made several aliens pause mid-movement. It was not sharp or artificial like station food. It felt deep, rich, and comforting in a strange way. Even the supervisor fell silent. The human plated the dish carefully. Then stepped back without saying a word. The dangerous alien officer entered the kitchen. The room went completely quiet. The dish was placed in front of the officer. The human stood still with his hands at his side. The officer lifted the food toward its mouth. And the future of the human quietly balanced on that single bite. The alien officer took a slow bite of the human's food. The kitchen remained silent, heavy with tension. No one dared to move or speak. The officer's many eyes narrowed as it tasted carefully. For several long seconds, nothing happened. The human remained still, calm, and quiet. Then something unexpected occurred. The officer stopped chewing and froze. Its body stiffened as if struck by invisible force. A low sound escaped its throat. Some aliens feared anger or poison. Others prepared to run. Instead, the officer slowly lowered the plate. Its eyes widened with clear shock. It took another bite, slower this time. The officer's breathing changed. A strange calm spread across its posture. Confusion replaced its usual cruelty. The officer demanded to know what the human had made. The human answered simply. He said it was food meant to make hard days easier. This answer puzzled the aliens. Food on this station was only fuel. Never comfort, never care. The officer ordered the human to cook again. This time for a small group of elite aliens. The command spread quickly through the station. Whispers moved faster than machines. A silent human cook was changing something. And no one understood how. The kitchen became crowded with guards and officials. Security drones hovered near the ceiling. The human worked without complaint or pride. He adjusted recipes based on alien reactions. He tasted nothing himself. Only watched and learned. Aliens who ate the food felt unusual effects. Some reported clearer thoughts. Others felt reduced stress and steady focus. A few even smiled without realizing it. This behavior shocked the command staff. Smiling was rare on this station. Rumors began spreading beyond the kitchen. Workers from other sectors requested human food. Engineers claimed better performance after eating it. Soldiers reported faster recovery and alert minds. The station felt different within hours. Less sharp, less hostile. Not everyone was pleased. Some high-ranking aliens grew suspicious. They believed humans hid dangerous abilities. They feared manipulation or control. An emergency meeting was called. The human was summoned to speak. Inside the command chamber, the human stood alone. Massive alien leaders surrounded him. Their size and power were meant to intimidate. The human showed no fear. He listened quietly as accusations filled the air. Questions struck like weapons. They asked if human food was a tool. If it weakened alien minds. If humans planned to gain control. The human waited until silence returned. Then spoke with simple honesty. He said humans survived by caring for each other. He explained that food was part of that care. It helped humans endure pain and loss. It reminded them why survival mattered. The chamber grew quiet again. The leaders felt uneasy. This concept was unfamiliar and dangerous. Before judgment could be made, alarms sounded. Warning lights flashed across the chamber. A hostile signal appeared on the main display. An unknown alien fleet was approaching fast. The station went into lockdown. Fear returned stronger than before. The leaders turned their attention to defense. But doubt lingered in their minds. They looked back at the human. Still calm, still silent. The human cook stood as the station prepared for war. And no one could decide if he was a weakness or a hidden strength.
The space station shook slightly as defense systems activated. Red lights washed over the metal walls. Alien voices filled the halls with sharp commands. The approaching fleet forced everyone into action. Yet the human cook remained where he was. Quiet and focused in the kitchen. Command officers watched him through security feeds. They expected fear or hesitation. Instead they saw calm movement and careful planning. The human opened storage units and checked supplies. He did not search for weapons. He searched for ingredients. A young alien officer questioned this behavior. It asked why the human was not preparing to flee. The human answered simply. He said battles were not only won with weapons. Endurance mattered just as much. And endurance began with food. Permission was given for the human to continue cooking. Though many leaders doubted the choice. Time was short and energy levels were dropping. Soldiers had been awake for long cycles. Stress and fear weakened focus. The human understood this well. He began preparing meals designed for strength and clarity. Nothing fancy or complex. Just balanced portions made with care. He adjusted spices and textures for alien biology. Learning quickly from earlier reactions. Working faster as alarms echoed nearby. As the food was distributed, changes appeared. Tired soldiers straightened their posture. Hands stopped shaking on weapon grips. Breathing became steady and controlled. Fear did not disappear. But it no longer ruled them. The human was finally asked to explain himself. Why cooking mattered so much to humans. Why he trusted it more than armor. He paused and looked around the busy kitchen. Then spoke in a calm voice. He said humans were fragile creatures. He explained that humans were not the strongest. They were not the fastest. They did not have claws or natural armor. So humans learned to prepare. They learned to plan ahead. And they learned to care for one another. Food was part of that care. It kept bodies alive and minds steady. It created moments of peace during chaos. It reminded humans of home and purpose. Even in dark times, the listening aliens felt something shift inside them. One commander realized the danger of this truth. A species that could create calm in war was powerful. A species that shared strength instead of hoarding it was rare. The human was not just feeding soldiers. He was shaping morale. And morale decided battles? Outside the station, enemy ships moved into attack range. Energy weapons powered up. The first impacts shook the outer hull. Yet inside, soldiers held their ground. Fueled by human meals and quiet confidence. The human's influence spread without words. The human did not claim credit. He continued cooking and adjusting recipes. He treated every soldier the same, regardless of rank or species. This behavior confused alien leaders. Power on this station had always demanded obedience. But the human offered support instead. This support created loyalty faster than fear ever had. Commanders began to see humans differently. Not as weak outsiders, but as force multipliers, able to lift others beyond their limits. As the battle intensified, the human prepared one final large batch of food. He looked at the shaking walls and flashing lights, and spoke quietly to himself. He said humans always found a way to endure, even when the galaxy expected them to break. The enemy fleet opened fire without warning. Bright energy beams struck the station's outer shields. The entire structure trembled under the impact. Alarms screamed through every corridor. Emergency lights flickered as systems struggled. The battle had truly begun. Defense cannons returned fire from the station. Explosions flashed across the dark space outside. Enemy ships moved with fast and aggressive patterns. They circled like predators sensing weakness. Inside the station, tension reached its peak. Fear tried to reclaim every mind. Soldiers rushed to battle positions. Hands tightened around weapons. Breathing grew heavy as memories of past defeats surfaced. This enemy species was known for overwhelming attacks. Many stations had fallen to them before. Hope felt thin and fragile. In the kitchen, the human cook did not stop. He moved faster now but never rushed. Pots steamed and machines hummed under his control. He organized food delivery with quick gestures. Alien workers followed his lead without question. Trust had quietly formed. Food crates were sent to defense zones. Pilots received meals before entering fighters. Ground teams ate between engagements. The effect was immediate and clear. Reaction times improved. Coordination sharpened across units. One squad nearly broke under heavy fire. Their position was hit again and again. Energy shields failed and panic rose. Then supplies arrived with human food. The squad ate quickly without understanding why. Moments later, they stabilized and pushed back. Command officers watched these reports in disbelief. Battle data showed rising efficiency. No chemical enhancers were detected. No illegal stimulants were present. Only simple food prepared with care. The humans' influence was undeniable. The enemy launched boarding pods toward the station. Metal claws dug into the hull. Explosive charges opened pathways inside. Close combat began in narrow corridors. The station faced its most dangerous moment. Survival was no longer guaranteed. The human was ordered to evacuate. High Command feared losing him. He listened and shook his head slowly. He said soldiers needed him more than he needed safety. This choice shocked the officers. Very few ever refused direct orders. As boarders flooded the station, the human adjusted his strategy. He prepared high-energy meals for frontline teams. Warm and easy to consume under fire. He coordinated with medics and engineers, turning the kitchen into a support command. Alien soldiers fought harder than ever before. They protected each other instead of retreating alone. Human food reminded them they were not fighting alone. The idea of shared survival spread fast. Enemy forces slowed as resistance strengthened. The station refused to fall. At one critical corridor, defenders were surrounded. A final stand seemed inevitable. Supplies were nearly gone. Morale wavered for a brief moment. Then a human food crate arrived. And with it came renewed resolve. The defenders charged together and broke the enemy line. This victory echoed through command channels. Cheers replaced panic. For the first time, the station believed it could win. And at the center of this shift stood a quiet human, cooking while a war raged around him. The battle reached its most dangerous point. Enemy ships pressed closer to the station core. Defense systems overheated and began to fail. Power levels dropped across multiple sectors. One final push from the enemy could end everything. The station balanced on the edge of destruction. Commanders gathered in the main control chamber. Holograms showed enemy forces closing in. Loss projections increased by the second. Some officers spoke of retreat or surrender. Fear tried to take control again. Then reports from the battlefield arrived. Frontline units reported impossible resilience. Injured soldiers returned to duty faster than expected. Pilots maintained focus under extreme pressure. Coordination remained stable despite heavy losses. Every report pointed to the same source. Human prepared food. The human cook was brought to the command chamber. Not as a prisoner or suspect, but as an essential asset. Alien leaders watched him carefully, expecting confidence or pride. They saw only quiet concern for others. The lead commander asked how long the human could continue. The human answered honestly. He said as long as someone needed strength, he would keep cooking. This simple statement carried weight. More than any battle speech. The enemy fleet launched a final coordinated strike. All remaining ships focused fire on the station. Shields collapsed in several sections. Hull breaches opened into open space. Emergency teams rushed to seal them. Time ran out quickly. At the same moment, station forces launched a counterattack. Every unit moved with shared purpose. Pilots trusted ground teams. Ground teams trusted command. And all of them trusted the quiet human support behind them. This unity confused the enemy. The enemy commander underestimated this resistance. They expected fear and disorder. Instead, they met disciplined and steady opposition. Human influence had changed the station's nature. Fear no longer controlled decisions. Endurance and cooperation did. One enemy flagship pushed too far forward. Its shields weakened under sustained fire. Station cannons focused together. A massive explosion tore through the flagship. The enemy formation collapsed. Momentum shifted at last. As enemy forces retreated, cheers erupted across communication channels. Relief washed over tired faces. The station had survived against all odds. Many realized they should not have survived. But they did. Alien leaders turned to the human cook. They acknowledged a truth they could not ignore. Without his contribution, the station would have fallen, not by lack of weapons, but by lack of spirit. The human did not celebrate. He returned to the kitchen, cleaning tools and checking remaining supplies, preparing for the wounded and exhausted. His focus remained on care, not victory. The climax settled into quiet understanding. Humans were not loud conquerors. They did not dominate through fear. They lifted others through support. This realization changed how the galaxy would see them. Forever. The space station slowly returned to silence. Burn systems powered down and alarms faded away. Smoke cleared from damaged corridors. Emergency teams moved with careful steps. Survivors leaned against walls, exhausted but alive. Repairs began across every sector. Engineers worked without complaint. Medics treated the wounded in long quiet lines. Food stations were set up near every recovery area. And at the center of it all stood the human cook. Still working. Alien leaders watched him from a distance. They no longer saw a weak outsider. They saw a quiet force that held the station together. The lead commander approached him carefully and offered rewards, status, and protection. All things highly valued on the station. The human listened politely, then shook his head. He said he did not need power or rank. He only asked for a proper kitchen and permission to cook without interference. This request surprised everyone. The commander agreed immediately. Orders spread through the station. The human kitchen was upgraded and protected. Supplies were prioritized for his work. Not because of fear, but because of respect. News of the battle spread beyond the station. Reports reached other systems and species. They spoke of a human who fought without weapons. Of a cook who strengthened an entire station. Of a species that survived by caring for others. The story spread quickly. Alien diplomats began requesting human presence. Not as soldiers, but as support and allies. Human crews were invited to stations once closed to them. The galaxy started to change its opinion. Slowly but clearly. The human continued his routine. He cooked, cleaned, and adjusted recipes. He learned new alien tastes and needs. And shared human methods freely. He never demanded credit. Only cooperation. One day, a young alien worker asked him, Why humans helped others instead of ruling them. The human paused while stirring a pot. Then answered in simple words. He said humans survived because they helped each other. And survival taught them kindness. The worker thought deeply about this. Many others listened nearby. A quiet understanding passed through the room. Strength did not always mean domination. Sometimes it meant lifting others up. Together, the station became a symbol, not of fear or control, but of shared endurance. And at the heart of that symbol was a human kitchen. Warm, steady, and open to all. A rare thing in the galaxy. As the cycle ended, the human finished another meal. He wiped his hands and looked around the busy kitchen. Aliens of many species worked side by side. Calm replaced chaos. Purpose replaced fear. Someone thanked the human for everything. He simply shrugged and said in a quiet voice, "Works for me." The galaxy listened and remembered.